The SDO 3-axis stabilized spacecraft achieved geosynchronous circular orbit via a series of raising maneuvers to 35,789 kilometers or 22,238 miles at 102 degrees west longitude, with an inclination of 28.5 degrees, and with the Earth tilting back and forth during the seasons relative to its position. This creates a figure 8 pattern that you see on the screen here, almost but not quite directly over the equator, plus or minus 30 degrees almost. It started out at 2,500 kilometers, closest approach to the Earth, and it kept making its elliptical orbit less and less elliptical with these maneuvers until it got up to the final altitude. The SDO lines up its view of the Sun like an eclipse with the Moon or Earth sometimes. As you can see, this would be pretty easy. Is SDO Moon eclipsing left to right in August one year and right to left in October of another? Impossible. Is WSO Steve Olson breaking report revealing a huge Shilburu deception shenanigan? Let's check. 864,576 mile diameter Sun is depicted on the lower right hand corner as that dot you probably can see. It is 93 million miles away from our Moon's 477,213 mile diameter orbit, which is big enough to hold all of the planets in our solar system between the Earth and the Moon. That's a very large orbit. Well, not really, but it's a large orbit, enough to hold all of the other planets. The space surrounding our Sun is extremely empty. The Moon, in its very large orbit diameter, is at 225,623 miles radius for its orbit, versus the 7,917 mile diameter Earth versus the 22,238 mile SDO orbit. Per day, as Earth rotates on its axis and the SDO orbits the Earth's 360 degrees, because it's in geosynchronous orbit, the Moon moves only 12 degrees, which is depicted as that line there, and right up at the upper right hand corner is a little dot indicating the Moon. These are done to scale. The SDO is inclined at 28.5 degrees, while the Moon's orbit is tilted by 5 with respect to the Earth. To someone on Earth, the SDO stays in one spot in the sky, making communication easier as it sends back half a terabyte of data per day, and is also a year past its freshness date, and is still in operation. So now we're going to compare the angles on this, and let's see if we can get this done as quickly as possible. As you can see, it's a spacecraft. It's orbiting the Earth, and it's trying to aim constantly one direction at the Sun as it's going around the Sun with the Earth and being affected by the Moon in some ways. This means it has to actively stabilize itself and use solar power and inertia on motors and flywheels to position itself, most likely. So let's look at what could cause what looks like this or this. Well, obviously, if it's lined up right behind here and the Sun is over that way, it could have the Moon or the Earth line up here, but not this way, depending on position and timing. What about it appearing to be where the Earth or the Moon goes past the Sun's disk, left to right or right to left, or even up at an angle? Well, let's try this. If it's going this way around the Earth, clockwise, that would make it to where as it swings by pointing its camera at the Sun, everything would appear to go from the right side to the left side. And then on the other side, it would go the opposite direction. Coincidentally, WSO Steve Olson had a video where they mentioned, is it in retrograde? Yes, Steve. That's the actual term for it. Thank you very much for semaphoring the fact that you probably looked this up and know full well that you're deceiving your viewers. So let's view again. WSO Steve Olson is probably doing this deceptive behavior to keep Nibiru fans happy. This is the information that should be looked up. This is what it goes through every, twice a year or so. And these are the images you get because we have a rather expensive and very interesting piece of equipment sending this information back. And there's a huge amount of space in the solar system. The dimensions are insanely large. And yet it's all empty space, really. Interesting, isn't it? Much more interesting than looking up fear porn on YouTube. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. And good luck with all of that.